Welcome to Network Today. I'm Sheryl Powers.
I'm Rob Bliss.
And we're here to take you from meeting people to
making money.
Dang. I love the making money part.
And you know what, Sheryl? It really, with kind of watching our programs and what we're doing, it's really keeping my focus on improving my networking skills. And I am seeing sales go up. So this has been fabulous.
Yes, it has been fabulous. And there's much more fabulousness to come, right? So if you're not familiar with all the other episodes, I want you to go back and catch up because this is episode 14. Can you believe it?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we have 13 other episodes you can go back and review, right? But doesn't stop you from watching this, implementing some of the things, and just dial back to the other episodes when you can. And this is a good one. We've got such a great guest who speaks to this too. So because it's a problem in networking for so many people when they're just plastic, right? They've got the script thing. So we're going to really talk about in-depth authenticity.
Absolutely. The thing that comes to my mind about authenticity is, again, it is becoming kind of one of those words now, like the word of the week, the word of the month, where now everybody's using that, let's be authentic.
Yeah.
Let's show us your authenticity. And so now be honest with you, Sheryl, it's kind of starting to bug me a little bit. But I got to go back to what you said, though. You said that it is so important in the way we handle ourselves as sales professionals. But again, there's something I want to talk more about.
Okay. And maybe we can come up with some different words because it is funny that words become kind of cliche when they're overused.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So one of my big beefs when I was in radio was client needs. Go find out the client needs. It's such a terrible, how about what does the client want? Right.
Exactly. Simplify it.
That's an authentic way to address the situation. So yeah, being authentic is so important. And I was at a gazillion networking events this week, and I saw a couple of people that were really struggling with it. And when you want to take you from just meeting people into the making money faster, right? We're going to shorten that long relationship game. Being authentic is so pivotal that it's germane. It is so important to the entire process. Otherwise, people do you want to do business with people who are inauthentic or disingenuine?
Right.
Is that even whatever
exactly.
that means?
And in the book I'm reading this week, Authenticity, he talks about how it's a matter of you're combining the heart, the head, and the soul of your selling skills. And so, that really got me thinking about how I got, my head, my heart, the soul to become truly authentic.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're going to talk more about it. Certainly going to have the guest on. You're going to love him.
Absolutely.
Because he really embodies the whole authenticity component. And before we get to him, though, so we're always trying to give you tips so that you can take it away and better yourself. So we can better ourselves, right? You just get to listen into the conversation. But because we're working on all these things, right? We want you to stay focused on the actual goal, and that's the win. So when we come back, we're going to talk about a grand slam, a networking grand slam.
Boom.
Right? That's right.
Knock it out of the park.
That's right. So we'll be right back.
Are you having trouble with your VoIP phone system? Smart Office USA to the rescue. We're a local company here in DFW with real people, certified technicians, and we even come to your office to help you. Smart Office USA, representing the #1 VoIP phone system on the planet. And we are right here in DFW, ready to help you. Call us 214-272-0921 or go to www.smartofficeusa.com.
And we're back to talk about our success stories. Rob, are we going to arm wrestle over whose success story goes first?
No, as usual, I'm going to go first, Sheryl.
All right. It's a big home run?
It's a big home run. I think I knocked it out of the park because of the long game that we talk about, that you talk about a lot, is that I got a call a few days ago, someone I didn't know, and he goes, "Hey, Rob, I got your number from Kelvin." And Kelvin, not a networker, not a business owner. He is the guy that kind of is the facilities manager of the office building that I'm in. And, I've been in my office space now for 2 years, and Calvin and I probably see him, once or twice a month where he's popping around, has to fix our HVAC or fix a door. But we've gotten a relationship where I offer him a cup of coffee, a Coke. We talk about his deer hunting that's coming up, project he's working at home. Just a really super nice guy.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I really like him too because he served in the Army for about 20 years as well. So he served our country. But just a great guy. But the whole point was, I get this call from this guy saying, "Hey Rob, Calvin highly recommended you. I've got a project that I'd like you to come out with me on." Long story short, we went out together, went over it, put the proposal together. Man, Sheryl, it's going to be over a $15,000 deal.
Well done, you.
Boom!
Yeah,
out of the ballpark.
Yep.
But the thing that I want to kind of share with the audience is the fact that how it's not just, again, you have to network every day with anybody and everywhere.
Right.
And this is the thing that Calvin, again, a great lesson to learn about, get to know the people around you. And so I kind of want to share 5 things I want to take away from this is stay in touch with the people you know, value the people you know,
Yeah.
help people. And there's a couple of things that both Calvin and I have shared and helped each other with. Treat people with respect, and then create friendships. And now, a couple of years later, I think that Calvin and I have become good friends. So it's really, what a great thing that I got this call and that Calvin, made me a part of it. So,
And truly, it's the perfect example of authenticity.
there you go.
Because you became friends without the motive of, I need to sell you something, or you better do something for me. Right. It's that, hey, I just really like you. We're, having chats. But ultimately, if you can find ways to tie that back to what you do, right, just by showcasing or telling stories or whatever that is to other people, then you get the referral.
There you go.
A $15K one.
Yes.
That's super nice.
Knock it out of the park.
That's right. So I'm going to say that this is it was a home run, but I don't want this to sound boastful, right? I just want you to, when you're networking and you're exhausted like I am this week, so go back to episode 8 and watch Brooke talk about it being overwhelmed. That was this week, man. I felt so upside down. I was just like trying to get air, but I had things on my calendar. I committed to all of these networking events. I had 6 after-hours networking events this week.
Wow.
And it was like, I just kept thinking, I just need to kick one out of my, but hey, I committed. I know I can make this happen. I just need to be disciplined.
Right.
And so with that, at the end of that, the last one last night was down in Arlington with the Young Professionals in Transportation. Look them up. It's a great group to be a part of. But anyway, so a young fellow that we both know, Josh Sims, right? He had been at the one prior to. So he was at Jeff Sandine's, Biz Pros, and he says, "Where are you going?" And I tell him, and he says, "Can I go too?" So when we are leaving this last event, we're walking to our cars in the parking lot, and he says, "You know what, Sheryl?" And again, I don't want this to sound boastful. I want to say this is kind of why you work hard to network in a disciplined manner, right? He says, you're the person to know, right? Everybody said they need to know you, right? You've really kind of, and I'm paraphrasing, but like kind of mastered the craft of networking. And certainly being a part of these groups. And that just meant that was so meaningful to me because he's a super sharp guy.
Right.
He's working hard on expanding his business. He's pretty new to the whole, this whole process. And so we have the opportunity to affect others' lives.
Yes.
So that's where it was really kind of a grand slam for me. I'm exhausted. The last thing I wanted to do was another networking event, right? But we're affecting people's lives. And by being genuine, being authentic, by being a friend and trying to help somebody else with their business too, man, that all of a sudden I'm not that tired. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good example too, because, Josh is kind of new to the networking game and he's new to kind of the Dallas area as well.
Yeah.
But, he hooked up with with you and a couple of events that you put on, Mid-Market Professionals, Transportation Club, that again, he's seen you in action. So therefore, that he sees that you want to give back, you want to teach him. And that's what is so good about what you do, Sheryl. But it's you feel good about it because you're helping this young generation learn networking skills.
That's right. And being authentic, we're surrounding ourselves with other people who are authentic. Yeah. And when we edify one another, it makes those, like you're a runner, right? It makes that last mile so much easier to get through when you have everybody going with you.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful. I felt my heart was all full.
That's great.
So, yes. So when we come back, we've got an amazing guest. You're going to want to take copious notes, write his name down. You want to connect with him because not only is he a great guy, he's got some awesome tools that will help you with your networking. But Jeff Weaver coming up.
Stay tuned.
Let's face it, employees waste time on the company dime. Why? Life's complicated. We help keep the junk of life out of the workplace and in the hands of the experts. Empowered Advantage, empowering employees, giving businesses the advantage. Letter M as in magnificent, poweredadvantage.com. All right, this is so super special. Do you know why this guest is so super special to us?
Tell me.
Because this is how you and I met.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. Wow.
Did you forget?
Yeah.
That's how we met.
But I can tell you, Kodak moment though, because I can tell you exactly what happened, but go ahead.
All right. So it is the Jeff Weaver.
All right.
The connector himself. Oh my gosh. So this is going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Because did you even know that?
I remember that, and I remember just connecting you for no real reason whatsoever. Just I thought you guys should meet each other.
That's right.
So there you are.
So Jeff is owner of Quick Results. He brokers a lot of other things. He's got his hand in a lot of different things because he's really geared into entrepreneurs, which is why this topic of authenticity is just so darn good. He also went to Iowa
State.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yep. Did not know that. I should have looked that up before.
I went there because I thought I was going to be a veterinarian, and then I had to take chemistry.
Oh. And start dissecting things.
So marketing was the way to go.
That's right. Yeah, no organs.
No.
Yeah, no organs involved. So, yes, so Jeff, I think talking in authenticity because it is who you are. And you've been through some things that I think with you and Rob, between Rob and I, you were sharing that I think probably elevated the authenticity-ness, that's a word, into your life, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you talk to me about doing authenticity, two words came to mind. One was trustworthy. I mean, you got to be honest. You got to be able to be counted on. And I think that a lot of times people maybe get a little too overboard on that. But the other thing is confidence. And confidence, you don't have to be bold and outgoing. You can be an introvert and be an excellent networker. You just have to be satisfied with who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that brings out your authenticity.
I think that's so online, Jeff, because again, I've known you, gosh, I think it's 15.
Yeah, about 15 years.
15 years now. And, we've gone, both of us in our business have had the highs and the lows. But the one thing that's been consistent with Jeff, and I really value his friendship, is the fact that he's been consistent on his authenticity. And he's always been there, and he's real. He's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And never salesy. I think I really enjoy that about you too. Just having a conversation. Let's just have some exploration, some discovery. Let's see what works. If it makes sense, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That's exactly true. I mean, I think so often, especially in networking, people go to a networking event, they arrive in the room, and the first thing they do is start looking around the room for somebody to kill. It's like, how about just meeting some people? Because really, you're going to, just like in introducing you two, I didn't know where that was going to go. Mm-hmm. And you two weren't prospects for each other. Mm-hmm. I just introduced you. So my newest philosophy that I've taken on this year is I'm just going to introduce everybody to everybody I know and let them take it from there. They're professionals. They can pre-qualify better than I can.
That's right.
And so I just let them do it. And I think that's part of just being authentic.
That's right. And we will have a whole episode on sifting and sorting through those initial introductions so that, because time is money, right? And I think some people are like, oh, well, I had somebody say this. Believe it or not. Why do I need to talk with you, Sheryl? I was like, what? Well, you don't.
Bye now.
I know, that's right, click. Oh my gosh. I thought, so they didn't know me and they had zero interest in getting to know me because they didn't know how our universes would align, right? But they had no idea do we have the same philosophies of life? Right? Maybe our spouses do the same thing. Maybe if I had kids, they would, you know what I mean? It's just, you never know. And so to your point, yes, making introductions, just allow yourself to be open.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of stay out of judgment and remain in curiosity at all times.
That's
if
good.
If you judge who's a good person to meet or you're trying to figure out how I can refer this person because I really don't understand their business, don't worry about that. Just introduce them.
That's right.
If you had any advice to our audience, especially the newbie segment, what would you say to them about when they're getting started in networking that, you need to be authentic? What's your advice of helping them along that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that, especially in the 80s and 90s, networking groups were the place to be. And the reason was there was no internet. So everybody asked everybody for a referral. Now you can go to the internet, you can read 100 reviews about somebody and know, so not as much asking is going on. So networking groups they're still good, right? But they're different than they were.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to a networking group to network. You've got email, you've got text messaging, you've got a phone, you've got Zoom, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever authentic for you, makes you feel who you are. That's how you can network. You don't have to go to a group and be bold.
Okay. Right. So, and I want to ask you this question because I have my own feelings about this. But if there's somebody coming out of a certain profession, a segment of the professional world, can you kind of isolate, hey, they have this background, so likely they're going to be a little less authentic than maybe somebody who comes out of this background? Can you identify?
I don't think I really understand what you're asking.
Okay, so here I'll tell you how I feel.
All
so
right.
I feel like people who might be less authentic might come out of a heavily trained or a sales trained atmosphere, right? Because they're kind of trained to say certain things.
Right.
And then some people who are really entrepreneurial, they don't have that kind of salesy training stuff. They tend to be a little more authentic. That's just how I feel. I don't know if that's something that you've identified.
I think that probably makes sense because I think if they did receive a lot of especially sales training, they learned a lot of techniques and tactics, things to twist people's arms.
Yeah.
And that's not always so good to be authentic.
Yeah.
So if they haven't learned all that and they're just going out and talking to people and saying, hey, this is what I got, is it for you or not? And move on. If it's not, it's no big deal. Yeah. They do that enough times, they're going to get plenty of business.
I was reading a book yesterday from an author I follow in sales, and she talked about how do you become authentic, and her answer was you either have it or you don't have it. What's your opinion about that?
I don't think so. I think that it is learned. It's sometimes something you need to concentrate on, like we just said about being taught too much. You can kind of get out of your comfort zone. But if you can remain in it and be who you are, what happens is people become loyal to you. Yeah. So you'll be the one they refer. And then the other thing is they'll engage more with you. So they'll start introducing you to more and more people, all because you're authentic. You had to do nothing else. You didn't have to be the greatest salesperson.
That's great.
That's right.
Yeah,
so maybe authentic or authenticity correlates directly with caring.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like listening, like learning, just being that curiosity. I think that's a really beautiful
everything's going to be okay. Yeah.
It's like being real, being genuine,
Yeah.
So as we put a wrap on this, do you know what I'm going to ask?
I think so.
So what's a little known fact about yourself that would be breaking news to anybody watching this?
Years ago when I would tell people this, they go, oh, really? That's so cool. But now it's kind of been a long time. When I graduated from college, I was a member of the Up With People cast. And I traveled the world and the United States performing a pop rock show. I was one of the lead singers, and I did backup singing for the other singers. I did dancing.
Oh my
We performed
gosh.
for hundreds of people. We performed for thousands of people.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
And the funny thing is, people say, you're sometimes you're a little bit nervous and introverted. When I go to networking groups, I'm a little bit of a wallflower. How could you stand up in front of 1,000 people with a microphone? Well, it's because when that spotlight hits you, you don't see anybody.
Right.
You're just blind.
That's
so
right.
you're just singing to yourself.
That's right. Singing in the shower. Oh, we're gonna do a whole medley. This is gonna be
That's
good.
great. That's awesome.
Fuel for the future. All right, so connect with Jeff. He's an amazing connector. He's just really who he says he is. And Quick Results Marketing is his company. And he's got all these cool little niche products that just you'll be like, oh my gosh, you'll be amazed. So learn about Jeff, get to know Jeff through LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Is there another avenue that you like to connect?
I'm on
to
Facebook
people?
a lot too.
Okay.
A lot of small business owners on Facebook, so I do my time there as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he's doing his time on Facebook. That's right. And LinkedIn.
Or just call me. I answer the phone too.
That's right. Can't wait to have you back, and let's continue the discussion.
Thanks.
All right. We'll be back.
Okay.
A small business is still a business. At Purple Cow Branding, we want to help you execute your greatest visions for your company. Purple Cow works for small businesses that don't have big budgets to spend on their marketing efforts. Inquire now at purplecowbranding.com to be the biggest little guy around. Purple Cow Branding, much more than digital marketing.
So, I love Jeff. I could hang in with him every day.
Man, it's hard to believe, but man, I've known Jeff for close to 15, 17 years now, and he's the same guy I know today that I did 17 years ago. He's real. He's authentic.
Do you recall how you met?
At a networking
really?
meeting. Yeah. On the border, Louisville, I-35.
Oh my gosh. It couldn't be any more specific than that. Okay.
Well, he's just one of those guys that stands out,
Yeah.
right? Because he had that impact by being a real person.
Yeah.
And they said, I want to hang out with this guy. So,
Yeah.
hey, here we are many years later.
Yeah. And I know where my meetings with him were Panera Bread in Louisville. So right over there. So yes, Jeff's awesome. So on the subject of being authenticity, we talked about making sure there's some real actionable items each time we have these topic discussions. So what's an action item that a networker can say, hey, I'm going to implement that to make myself right now more authentic?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is how you need to know thyself. You need to bring value to the people that you're talking to.
Yeah.
And the only way to bring value is when you know who you are, what you're good at, what you're an expert in. And I think that brings that authenticity skill set out by showing what can I bring to this group, what am I good at, what am I the expert at.
Yeah. So for me, one of the actionable items is, and I think most people are good at this, but I even find that I'm overly distracted sometimes, especially at networking events or when there's a crowd of people around. But that's just genuine eye contact, right? Because it says, hey, I care. I'm listening. I want to know more about you, right? So I think eye contact, and that helps to fuel that authentic engagement.
And I think that's a great point, and what that reminds me of too is, and we've talked about this before, is the follow-up.
Yeah.
Because I can use smoke and mirrors and when I'm talking to you at the networking event, and then I disappear, I ghost you, right? Yeah. But I think with that follow-up, then that really does bring out, I am an authentic person, I want to get to know you. I'm going to take the time. I'm going to invest the time in you.
Yeah. Now, and here's a third thing, kind of piggybacking on what you were talking about, knowing yourself. Also know your product, right? So we know our product, but how does that apply to the person we're talking to? And so you want to practice, but you don't want to over practice, if that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. You really want to have a solid feel for the value add that you bring into the marketplace and how you can help others. So I think just knowing the product without over practicing so it sounds like a canned commercial.
Right.
You know, buy me and I'll change your life. So that's what I would say. So what the actionable items are: know thyself,
Know thyself.
right? Have eye contact, good engagement, and then also know your product.
Know your product. Yeah.
So if we can get those 3 things down.
And I think what we'll do too is we're going to post that on our website under our free resources category. So.
Yeah. So you can go back and refresh yourself on, because I need refreshers all the time, especially when I'm very unfresh. Like this week, I'm very unfresh. So I need these little ticklers, these reminders.
Well, the resource tab on the website is really working out for me because I honestly, I would say every couple of days I hit it to bring down an episode where I can get those 9 or 10 points as the refresher that we all need.
Yeah. So the website that we're referring to, if for some reason you found us on a different platform, because we're on many platforms, thank you, but it is networktodaydfw.com. If you have suggestions, right? So we're building out, this is every week, and we've done a pretty good job of, I think, filling it. But if there are things that we're missing and you're like, oh my gosh, would you please talk about this? We want to hear from you. info@networktodaydfw.com.
Right.
And then, we forget to do this, but LinkedIn, connect with Rob.
Yes.
Bliss, connect with me, Cheryl Powers. And because we want to make sure that we're all engaging and growing the community together. So, and certainly the networktodaydfw.com page. So we've got another great episode coming up next week.
I like the topic next week. That's a fun one. It's fun, but it's so important. And I think most sales professionals don't spend enough time really developing this. So
yes. So if it has to do with a label and it has to do with myself, what might that, put those two together, what might that mean?
Or, you might want to add how you want to differentiate yourself from your competition.
Yeah. So that's what that episode is going to be all about. So you want to make sure.
It's going to be a fun one, very important. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah. And so if you subscribe, that means putting in the email address when you go to the website. That allows you to get those ongoing campaign pings as we launch a new campaign. The other thing it's going to do too is help you access more easily, certainly Rob's library, because you're reviewing books still.
Right, I still am.
Good. And Cheryl's tech tools, right? Because he loves paper. Me, not so much. So I love to review tech tools.
I got more gray hair than you do.
No.
So man, I'm old school. I'm old school.
Dye carries us a long way, right? So anyway, but yeah, I like the techie stuff, and you'll see that as well. So you get pinged on those emails. So I love being in the studio. This is a great day.
Fantastic. Great guest, great material, great subject. Be authentic.
That's right. So we're here to help you shorten that long relationship game. I think we did it.
We did it.
I think we did it, my friend. All right. Cheers, Bucky. All right. See you later.
See you next week.
This has been a Purple Cow production.